Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fibre Stitch. Do you remember this one we did in the last episode? So I was using a vest that I had unravelled and I wanted to use a bit of it. And we used some roving and we used some wool and we used our needle felting needle to tack it down. And now in part 2 we're looking to see what else we might want to add. I'm looking here at all different interesting kinds of yarns and laces, different interesting things. This also was in my little box of goodies. That could easily go in. So, like I said, I used the needle felting needle and it tacked through all of those things and it held it all together. So now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what can we do? So that one there is a bit of sari silk yarn. You know, where they use the threads and they make a yarn from it. Use the threads from different saris. And that looks pretty good, but it's very thick. Here's another one. I'm just going to try different things. This one is a strip of sari fabric and yeah, that could be good. We could have used it like that as stems. Or here's another one, and this is just a different colour of that sari. Can't remember what it's called now. Sari silk yarn. So a few different colours. Here's a different one. I like the colours in this. I like the shine. This is a very nice yarn. Lots of colour. This one here is, you know, it's a lace that you buy by the meter. Just an interesting kind of fairy one. You could just cut little bits off that and put that in there. That would be nice too. So decisions to make. What are we going to do with this? Maybe this one here. This one's very shiny and gold and might add a bit of life to it. I mean, it's already very bright. This is going to be a bright one. But I do like experimenting, as you know. Alright, so we've got a selection of those kind of things. We could do something to the flowers, something on that foreground. But this shiny one, I'm thinking I'm going to thread it through a needle that's got a large eye. And I am just going to thread it through. Weave it through. Because we've got that lace underneath. And whatever we added when we put the wool roving on top, it's not permanent, you know, it can lift up. It was just to help tack it down. So just picking out a few different areas where I want this to show. And the stitch underneath is not going to show. But I'll end up with these nice little twists. I can decide where I want it. I can make them loose. See, I'm going to pull this one out a bit. Where else? So I've done that. I've went from one side and out through the other in a nice lazy curve. And I'm pulling it so that it's got plenty of slack in there. I'm going to do the same with this one. It has thick and thin areas. Could use a needle or could use just thread it through by hand. I'm still thinking, would this be nice? And it would. I don't end up using it, I must say, it's gone. But I'm wanting to thread a few things through, so let's just have a look. I think that looks nice. It's the same colours that's in there. Okay, so I've threaded a few things through, and now I am looking at what kind of threads I might want. That's a shiny one. This one's a thicker pearl cotton. I like all kinds of threads. But I'm just going to start going through. I'm only going to do straight running stitches, you know, normal stitches, big loose ones. I'm not going to be too neat about it. But as I go through from side to side with these wavy lines, it's holding things down. And I might use my needle to sort of move things around. Oh, I'd like you better here, or I wish more of the background of this one was showing up, or, you know, so that kind of thing. But I can see it all looks like a big jumble at the moment. I really got my work cut out for me in this. I've only just started stitching. With my broken wrist, it's a little bit hard to turn my wrist at all. My fingers are working. So I'm going to leave complicated stitches out of it. And it's just going to be this one ordinary running stitch, straight stitch. And nothing very tidy. See how I used a colour that was in there? You're not really going to notice it very much, but it helps to start flattening it. This is a very thick, you know, it has so many different textures. And this will help to sort of push it, some of it back into the background a bit. I'll come back the other way. Now sometimes I might use it to hold something down, couch over top of it, you know, up one side and down the other, and that holds it. But it's still that one stitch. So slowly going along here, making sure that I pulled things I want down in different areas. And as I get to some of these loops that have been left poking up through our lace, I'm going to do a long stitch in the center of it. And I think they look kind of like leaves. So let's have a closer look. Can you see? There's some great texture there. And so that's a good start. I've even popped that bit of lace in. So I will continue to do stuff like that down the bottom, but I'm also looking at what kind of threads I might like up the top in those flowers. So I've chosen one that's a variegated one, a variegated thread. I'm only using a couple of strands from a floss that has yellow and then through to orange and through to pink, the colours that are there. Starting with just 2 strands, you know, you're not going to see it a lot, but it will start to give us an idea of what we're going to try and do. So I'm thinking nice big circles around the outside of our flowers. And I'll go outside the edge, and sometimes I'll go down into the blue that's underneath that. And sometimes I'll go spiraling into the center, as you can see. Do you notice how I am turning the work all the time? Just so that I'm still doing that same movement with my hand, right to left, because I'm right-handed. But I'm not trying to go like a contortionist and stitch uncomfortably. No, I'm turning the work as I go. Let's have a look here at those first few stitches. I'm using a pink one now, and it is thicker, so it gives a little bit more texture. It mixes it up a little bit. I'm thinking, what else could I do? And at the moment I'm thinking some yellowy orange would be nice. So same thing, sometimes outside the edge, sometimes inside, but just these rough circles. I'm hoping to make those flowers stand out a little bit more as what they are, flowers. I'm also making sure that I'm holding down that nice bobbly thread. That was part of the unraveled vest that we put in part 1 of this video. We used some of the roving to hold it down, but stitches is good. It makes sure of it. Now I've grabbed out a nice, very pale sky blue, and I'm going to use it up here. And I'm just going to do some nice stitching across. That's going to be my sky, kind of. It's a suggestion of sky anyway, without doing too much at all. Maybe we can pretend that the crocheted lace vest is like the clouds. So I can move bits of that vest up where I want it to be. And just keep stitching through until I get to the end, and then I'll turn around and go back. Let's have a look here. I'm also using it to go through there. I chose this colour because I thought it would help calm it down a little bit, because we have so many bright colours there. And I'm just going to do the same, backwards and forwards. You can see here how that's starting to become all part of a whole rather than bits and pieces. Those lovely spiraling colours around those flowers. I think it works pretty good. I want to do something in them centres. I haven't quite decided. I could use that sari silk yarn. Could go around the outside. That would really make them stand out. But it feels a little thick to me. So let's see what else we've got. I like that yellow. It's a thick and thin kind of yarn. I like this orange. It's just ordinary 8-ply. And I liked these bobbly ones because they're very like that thread that I had put in already when the vest was unraveled and it was nice and crinkly. So let's look at the yellow. What does it do? Well, it could be nice. We could couch that down. The orange. See, that looks all right too. But no, that's too thick. So I'm having an idea here. What if I mixed the yellow and the white together? You know, you can sort of twist them together. Or the yellow and the orange, maybe? How would that look? In the end, I decide, let's try all three. So, I'm getting a cotton on my needle. I'm coming up where I want to start. I'm using an orangey colour that will fit in. And I'm just here, not underneath, and I'm making sure that I'm just catching all of those in there really well. And then I can either have all three together, or I can separate them out like this, you know. So it's worth a go. I think it looks better if it's twisted like this though, but not all the way. So you can stitch through it, or you could stitch over top of it from bottom to top, or mix it up as you need. See, I'm going right outside where that pink flower was. And I'm stitching all three together at this point. Couching, this is what we call couching. Adding a thread but not stitching with the actual thread, using another one. And here I'm thinking, let's split them now and see what happens. Maybe I want two of one together and I want the white one separate. Maybe I'll join the yellow and the white together. Just different, mixing it up and seeing what I like. I want it to look like the edges of the petals on the flower. I want it to stand out more, have more definition. Can you see how I'm moving it around with my needle? Some of the flowers still showing underneath. I'm crossing that one over now. And so I'm continuing, and I'm doing all 3 flowers. It will spiral into the center from the outside. These spirals seem to work well with these flowers. When I get to the center, I'm just trying to make it into a nice tight bud. Still don't know what kind of flowers they are, but it doesn't matter. It's just your interpretation. It's like the sky doesn't necessarily have to be a straight block of blue. We've created a bit of a sky there, something that we recognize as sky, or at least I do. Well, those flowers look quite jolly, don't they? I'm thinking, what can I put in the center? Maybe some buttons. That would look nice. Here's some sort of navy fancy yarn. I'm thinking something dark would be good. Maybe something dark like that couched in, plus a button. Like that. Or I might want to pull it apart and expose some of the colour underneath in the center. There's plenty of things you could do. You could bead something. But I'll probably just put the buttons on and call it done. So how do you think we went? Let's just have a little look at what we started with. It's pretty different, isn't it? And I don't think it's too bad. We've flattened some of that area out, but it's still got that joyous colour and life to it. Lovely. Let's look close again. Oh, that texture. So nice. I love the colours. But I've definitely decided in the next one I'm going to do something very, very different. It's all about playing with colour, knowing what goes with what. And in the next one, I'm thinking to go very, very subtle indeed. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we've learned a few things, we've tried a few different things, and I really do appreciate you watching. So, once again, thank you. And if you would like to press like and subscribe to my channel to see more, then please do so. Happy crafting, everybody.